This video is going to be very surgical, okay? And it's not to hate on Drake. And I'm a Drake hater, but this video isn't to hate on Drake, okay? This video is to get to the root of why Drake is behaving in the manner he's behaving in and why he's been behaving in the manner he's been behaving for years. Because I'm pretty sure I just found the answer. And that's why this video is called Drake's Darkest Secret. All I ask is that you keep an open mind and you stay with me, because if you do, the value of this video will be beyond a Drake or any of this situation. But we're talking about patterns. We're talking about pattern recognition. We're talking about humanity and how things that happen to us affect us, no matter how much money or fame we have. Let's get into it. Also, real quick, like, comment, and subscribe, please. I'm sure you all have heard about this LeBron and Drake situation. Drake basically goes on to drop a song called Fighting Irish, which is a direct subliminal to LeBron James. And he basically is talking about how he feels betrayed by LeBron, because LeBron was supporting Kendrick Lamar by going to the pop out and then dancing to Kendrick Lamar in pre-games. You know what I'm saying? Because of that, in this freestyle, he says a line. And that line is, "God forbid we ever gotta tarnish your public image." Just to fast forward a bit, DJ Academic, somebody who's been supporting Drake and getting information for Drake this whole time, goes on his live stream and says that LeBron's been cheating on his wife. But as I took a step back, I recognized there's a pattern here when it comes to Drake. When Drake was beefing with Meek Mill, he made the woman that he wanted at one point the main point of attack by emasculating Meek Mill and saying that Nicki Minaj is bigger than him, she's wifing him, get a prenup, all those different things. His issue with A$AP Rocky was the same thing. A woman that he really wanted that ended up getting picked up by A$AP Rocky. And he's had beef with him ever since. His beef with Chris Brown was the same exact thing over Rihanna, a girl that he wanted, that Chris Brown was with, and that he continued to badger about since he got her. Even his beef with Common, bro, this is in 2009, was about the same thing. He got with Common's ex, Serena Williams, and then was rubbing it in his face. Now, why does this pattern keep showing up? Drake's been in the game for almost 20 years, and the same thing keeps happening. That's when you gotta dig in, and you gotta get to the roots. Now, Drake's music isn't that deep at all. But if you pay attention, there are times where he will tell you some of the problems that he's still dealing with pretty forwardly. For example, in Churchill's Downs, right? He says, "Cold hearts and heated floors, no parental guidance, I just see divorce. Therapy sessions, I'm in the waiting room reading Forbes. Abandonment issues, I'm getting treated for." Now, let's break down what abandonment issues look like. Abandonment issues are a type of anxiety that can cause people to have a persistent fear of being left alone or rejected by loved ones. The behaviors can exhibit being clingy or codependent, manipulative, overly eager to please, jealous, trouble trusting their partner, insecure in their relationship, difficulty being emotionally intimate, and needing to control or be controlled by their partner. Now, how this can develop is childhood trauma, such as the loss of a parent, emotional neglect, or inconsistent caregiving, a relationship breakdown or the loss of a close relationship in adulthood, or feeling emotionally neglected or unsupported in current relationships. Now, clearly, one of these qualifies for Drake. He says he had no parental guidance. So the inconsistent caregiving or the emotional neglect by the parent could be what caused that for him. And he raps about that on his dad's side. He's done it a lot since he came into the game, to the point where his dad had to come out and say that Drake is lying about that to sell records. I don't think Drake was lying about that, but who knows? His parents divorced when he was a kid, so he witnessed his family break apart, and that deeply hurt him. He even raps about it to this day. So what does that tell you? He knows exactly how to hurt other men. He's using his pain in order to target other people's sore spots and hopefully create the same pain in them. And he does this with people that he either feels wronged him or are enemies of him, which is something he tried to do to both of these men. To Pusha T, he mentioned Virginia Williams in order to trigger him. And to Kendrick Lamar, he tried to break up his family. Now let's talk about why Drake be trying to mess with everybody girl. Do y'all remember Drake having an issue with Ludacris? Well, it was because Ludacris actually slept with Drake's girl. Ludacris was a famous rapper, so he was able to pull this off. And Drake was deeply hurt about this. This isn't a theory. Here's proof. Here he raps about trying to show his girl his music and she tells him, okay, put on Ludacris music. Which is messed up. You know what I'm saying? Comparing your partner, you're supposed to support your partner. Comparing it to somebody that's way bigger than him is crazy. But then Ludacris ends up sleeping with the girl. You know, so that's crazy. So you know that traumatized Drake, especially considering that he went on stage and announced it in front of the whole world when it was never really a topic. And Ludacris ends up admitting this. He says he had no idea at the time, and that shows you the position that they were in. So I think the reason that Drake is going around trying to get with other people's girls is he's trying to experience what Ludacris experienced because he hasn't dealt with that trauma yet. And if you notice this pattern, Drake's game plan is to implement his pain that he experienced onto you if he doesn't like you. This is why Meet the Grams might be the most evil diss track in the history of hip hop, because he attacked every single sore spot that really hurts for Drake. He attacked the family aspect. He attacked the character aspect. He attacked that he wants acceptance. He attacked all the things that he knows really hurts Drake. What people don't understand about therapy is that when you learn so much more about yourself, you start to recognize that everybody's pretty similar. And therefore, Kendrick Lamar used his new emotional intelligence to attack Drake's traumas. And he had a better grip on this because he just learned about his own traumas. Drake's crashing out behavior has nothing to do with Not Like Us. It has everything to do with Meet the Grams, because these are still traumas that Drake has not taken the time to acknowledge within himself. Now we're gonna talk about Drake's darkest secret. And it's very simple. This little boy that exists inside of Drake is still very hurt. And the reason why is because he couldn't have the family that he always wanted. He felt emotionally neglected and abandoned by his father. On top of this, Drake has also had to deal with difficulties being accepted in certain areas. And this version of Drake still hasn't recovered from those traumas because he hasn't acknowledged them. So therefore, he's running around with all the baggage on him and trying to project it onto everybody else. Drake we see today is not this Drake. This Drake is still trying to recover from everything that he experienced as a child. And just because Drake lived in the burbs or lived in areas, it doesn't mean that he didn't go through things as well. What Drake can do is understand what triggers him, which he can't do that yet because he hasn't taken the time to self-reflect. Learning to withdraw when triggers come up, which is something he hasn't mastered yet, because as soon as he feels those things, he starts to crash out. And getting more comfortable with having conversations about his fears, which he is not having because he's not taking the time to address them. You gotta remember, Drake came into the game very young. He's been experiencing his gluttony and you know, drugs and women and all this stuff. Very easy to distract yourself with these things. But this is why the behavior he's distributing continues to show up. And his darkest secret is the fact that he wants his own family, not just from the perspective of having his personal immediate family together, but a woman that he can be with, that he can have a child with, the basic nuclear family. And that's why he is jealous and can't stand these other rappers who have these nuclear families or are on the way to creating those nuclear families. But once he sits down and acknowledges those traumas, he'll be able to get over those things and even possibly be able to turn his career around. But because he hasn't done that, he's going to continue to dig a deeper hole, because every day is going to be a trigger since he has to face this. And that's what Kendrick Lamar has created for him. This video isn't just for Drake. This is for anybody to take this as a lesson. You know what I'm saying? We all go through things and we all have our own triggers, etc. But until we sit back and acknowledge them, until we take the time to learn about ourselves and understand what triggers us, we will behave in ways that destroy our relationships and destroy our reputation. So don't just take this as a Drake video. This is an all of us video that we all need to pay attention to. Drake is a prime example of what happens when you don't acknowledge your pain. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what y'all think about this video, man. Love y'all.